All right, what is up, fight fans, and welcome back to the KJ MMA show. I am Ryan Drell, joined by Garrett Kerman, as always. And right now we have UFC Lightweight Ricky Glenn on the show. Ricky, how's it going?
What's up, guys? Going great, besides not fighting here next weekend.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to give the floor to you to break the news. Obviously, you were supposed to be fighting Drew Dober at UFC Vegas 50, March the 12th, and unfortunately, the fight has been scrapped. So let us know what's going on.
Yeah, matchup I've been preparing, a long time, really hard, feeling really good, and unfortunately got injured. And I thought maybe I'd be able to work around it, but unfortunately I got to pull out. And this is my first time making it public. Haven't posted anything on social media yet, but kind of gone through the medical process of things, and MRI showed a complete tear of a tendon in my groin, the leg area. So got to get surgery on that, and it's a quick recovery if I can get surgery soon. And hopefully I'll be able to get a matchup late summer is the plan now, but a little bit of a delay, unfortunately. But now I'm just kind of taking it day by day and looking forward to recovery and getting back to full training.
Yeah, it's definitely awful news. Tell us, how did this happen? Did it happen in training, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it happened in training. It was my second session. It was on a Monday. It's a wrestling session. I was warmed up, and I'm pretty mobile. Like, I've been the most mobile I've ever been in my life recently, doing yoga and mobility stuff every day. So it wasn't like a tight muscle thing, which was kind of weird. But the tendon, was inflamed, and I make sure I warm up before I start training. And I warmed up, took my partner down, and we rolled, and I squeezed my legs in, and then squeezed them out. Funny kind of referee's position, and I felt a snap, and what popped, but it felt like a snap, and it was pretty painful. And then I got an ultrasound and then an MRI shortly after that, and showed complete to near complete tear, and then some other stuff that's grade 1 will heal pretty quick. But I've tried to like do some normal exercises that I would in training, and I can't even use my leg like I should. And I wanted to go in there and try to work around it, but there's no way I'm going to be able to compete on the injury that I have and need surgery.
When it initially happened, did you feel like right immediately that, okay, this is really bad? You fear that you're going to miss this fight and have to pull out?
Kind of, but as like, all right, as a pop, I've had pops in my knees and ankles, and some other stuff before where it's like, oh, you shake it off and a couple days later you're okay. So that's kind of what I was hoping. But I took my time, and we had ice at the gym, so I iced it right away. And then when my coach was like, all right, lay flat and lift your leg up. And then when I couldn't lift my leg up, I was like, shit, like, I tore something pretty bad because I couldn't lift it up. It was just like, oh, not even that. I mean, it's painful, but I just didn't have the function, the movement in my leg. And then walking was okay, but getting up and trying to move my leg around, I couldn't do it. It was like, shit, I'm most likely not going to be fighting.
Yeah. Is it safe to say that this is probably the biggest disappointment so far in your professional career? Because Drew Dober is a big name. This would have been a good platform for yourself to really take a next step. I mean, how does your emotions feel right now?
Oh man, well, I'm kind of moved past it now because I was pretty emotional about it. Um, you know, I pray it's not too long of a setback. I think it's a quick recovery. But my goal is, get past him, and then I think I'd have a good opportunity to ask for top 10 opponents after beating Drew Dober. And, I'm really confident in my abilities. But now it just kind of delays that. And the thing that kind of helps me move on from this is it's quick recovery, and injuries happen. Dariush, who else recently pulled out? There's been a lot of guys that have to pull out because of injuries, and it just happens. It's part of the sport, I guess.
So if you had your first choice to rematch with Drew Dober, your next fight, you're saying late summer, you're hoping to get back in there. Would you like the UFC to rematch you with Dober next?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I want that. didn't get to talk to my manager too much about that, but I hope he wins, and I'm gonna be able to get the matchup again after that. So I hope so.
Okay. So break this down for me. How does a fight with you and Drew Dober play out?
I think I know he switched some things up, and he's had a little bit of layoff to kind of revamp some stuff, and I think he's still going to come at forward heavy pressure, kind of big overhand or cross hook, and he's a southpaw, so southpaw. He does a good job, like head off center, but cross hook, and I was wanting to meet him with strikes. If he got in close, elbows, clinch, takedown, and really set. I wanted to set the pace on him too. I got a good gas tank, so my plan was just to start fast and just keep picking it up. Most of my fights, I don't get tired. My last one, 3 rounds, I didn't get tired at all, and afterwards, unfortunately, the first 2 rounds I kind of got held down, but afterwards we worked out and worked on some stuff, and back at the training room that I had at the hotel from the UFC. But yeah, I don't really get tired, so I need to start faster and push the pace on these guys.
So do you believe that you finished Drew Dober, or is this a hard fought decision win for yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish him. I hope we meet, man, and I'm gonna get a finish.
Okay, I love it. I mean, I sure hope that the UFC makes this fight here again late summer, whenever you're ready to come back. And I'm glad you mentioned your previous fight. Another tough guy, Grant Dawson, a majority draw against him. Recap that for me. How do you feel your performance was in that fight? Do you feel like you should have got the nod, or are you happy with your overall performance?
I'm not happy. I started slow. That first takedown that he got, I should have shrimped out and tried to regard a little quicker. So he settled into half or side control on that in that fight, and so I kind of had to eat the whole first round. I could feel him wanting just to hold and then advance his position. So there was kind of some stalemates there, and I did a good job kind of taking away his leg trips, and he didn't throw any punches at me really. He just dove in. So I should have maybe threw some knees and kicks up the middle a little better. And I started too slow.
And actually, the last time I spoke with you, Ricky, was before that Grant Dawson fight. How did your hip and your MCL feel in that fight? Did you feel pretty good? Is that 100% in both areas?
Yeah, that was 100%. Yeah, the hip, it's been three years now. I had the surgery, and it's slowly just gotten better. It hasn't flared up or anything. And then that MCL delayed me before my return. So that put me out for a couple months. But luckily that didn't need surgery. Those ones usually don't. But that everything's been holding up, and I don't know. This is a weird injury. After my previous fight with Grant, I started picking the weights up more. So I don't know if it's from lifting weights, or overuse, but it's kind of like felt a little inflamed for a little bit. I'd ice it and do some anti-inflammatory stuff, and yeah, unfortunately, just it gave and snapped.
Mm, yeah, definitely unfortunate. That's a great word to use, and I'm sure you're more than a little upset about what's transpiring right now. But as you said, it's not going to be too long of a time on the shelf. Hopefully, you're back again very soon. Tell me, what has camp been like? You talked about things, lifting weights and whatnot. Anything new as far as training partners, or has it pretty much been business as usual for you?
Um, Yeah, I think a little different for my training partners. I started going over to Henzo Gracie, BJJ, at Carson's here, Des Moines, Iowa. There's a good group of guys over there. I've been training at, I know you guys probably don't know, but 22nd Street Barbell, which is a pretty hardcore powerlifting, bodybuilding, strength conditioning performance place. And I got to thank Wes for helping me out with all my strength and conditioning and help me in my weak areas, my hips and legs, and just get me overall like way stronger. I'm a lot stronger since my last fight. And so that's kind of a disappointment too, because I know I'm going to perform a lot better now, being stronger and picking the weights up more. And then recently, the gym that I train, the main gym I train at, Absolute MMA and martial or fitness, they moved to a bigger location, so we have more space, a few more people coming in. There's a lot of growth over there, and we're always, staying busy. I'm on the pads with my coach consistently after my fights, back in the gym helping out my other teammates, working my wrestling, working my bag work, my conditioning. I'm a lot, really consistent with all my stuff, my mobility. So it's just weird that I had an injury like this, and maybe I need to do more ice baths or something.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned lifting the heavy weights and whatnot. Is your weight going up at all, or are you pretty much staying the same right now?
I've been staying the same. I actually dropped a couple pounds. I wanted to trim a couple pounds off, so the cut wasn't going to be as hard on my guts or bogged down as much. But I can kind of eat whatever I want, but I burn it off, so I need the calories. But I eat pretty clean.
All right. Well, let's talk about your division, the lightweight division in the UFC. I think it's safe to say it's the most stacked, the deepest division that there is. Tell me first, Islam Makhachev, what is your take on this beast? Is he the future champion, or do you feel like Oliveira or Gaethje might be able to stop this guy?
I think he's going to be the future champ for sure. Just looking back at some of Oliveira's fights, and he's getting better, of course. Everyone's getting better, but Islam does a really good job, and Bobby Green said it well, that he's just advancing. He's just kind of inch by inch advancing his position to get to where he's strongest is, on top in the clinch. He's really strong. He does a lot of strength and conditioning, and I'm sure he's been consistent with that for a long time. And that's, one of the biggest things with some of us, MMA fighters, they're not as consistent with and I'm guilty of it with the weight training, and we need to be consistent with our weight training, all of our other training too. So it's kind of a balancing act too. So you don't get injured like myself, but with your recovery and, all the weight training and all your other disciplines for MMA. But I think he's going to be the champ. But Bobby Green said it well. He's just slowly advancing his position, cutting the ring off, getting in, whether it's, double, single, or clinching the trips, and then getting on top.
So when you look at the guys at the top of the division, who do you feel like gives him the toughest test there in the top five?
Probably Oliveira. Yeah, I bet Oliveira would give him the toughest test.
All right. And Oliveira and Gaethje is for the belt next, so we'll see what happens with that. But this weekend, UFC 272, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. We got to get your pick on that one, man. Like, I cannot wait for this fight. Who wins and how do they do it?
Man, I like both fighting styles. I don't know, personally, but I've been a fan of Masvidal's for years. Where did he fight at? Was it Strike Force? I think he fought. It was like KJ Noons or something. I think was it KJ Noons? Something Noons. But I remember seeing him fight him, and I was like, dang, this guy's got some really good boxing. And so I really like his striking. And then I hadn't seen too much of Kobe's fights until just like a few years ago, really. And I like his striking too, but I think Colby's going to take it. I think he's got a better gas tank. If he can get it past the first round, I'm going with Colby.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I think Colby gets this done. What do you think of this new co-main event, RDA and Moicano? A couple of lightweights that they're going to be fighting up. How do you see this one going?
Man, I was looking forward to Islam fighting him. I thought that'd be a good one, and I think RDA would give Islam a good test. He's strong, good in the clinch, good grappler. I think he's stronger than Oliveira, but Oliveira's a lot slicker with his jiu-jitsu and a little snappier with his striking. But I got to go with RDA. Renato, right? But he,
Yeah.
5 days notice. I don't think he's very strong. He's good. Obviously he's good, but that's a guy that's been on my radar too. I think RDA is going to whoop him. Probably
Give me
TKO within the first 2 rounds. I'm going with like a TKO.
All right. And there's so many great fights on this card. I mean, obviously you got Bryce Mitchell and Edson Barboza,
Yeah.
Kevin Holland's going down to 170. You got a heavyweight matchup, Greg Hardy, Sergey Spivak. What's another fight or two that really stand out to you that you're looking forward to?
I thought his name was Julian, but it's Turner. He's a
Jalen Turner.
Yeah, Jalen. Him and I don't know his opponent's name, but I know I've seen him fight. Both of those guys fight before. I think that's gonna be a good striking match. And Turner, up and comer. I think he's like the tallest lightweight in the division. But I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. And who else was there? Gosh, there was quite a Bryce and Barboza. That's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a really good one.
Yeah.
I think Bryce is gonna get that one. Maybe decision. I can see him just out wrestling him.
Yeah. I can't wait. I mean, Garrett and myself were talking before we went live here. So many great fights. UFC 272 is a card that you really can't miss. Are you one of those fighters too that likes to kick back and really dissect everyone in your division when you're watching them compete, or do you not really watch as much tape as maybe others do?
I need to watch more. Unfortunately, we don't really get very good internet service out here. I'm in my entryway, and that's where I get the best internet service on my phone. But we don't have a computer, and I don't watch TV, so I'll catch up, and I'll catch stuff on YouTube sometimes afterwards on my phone. But I could do a better job watching the fights. And before this, I went through and Googled all the fighters, and I'm kind of bad with the names, but I've seen a lot of them fight before. And but yeah, mostly the people in my division I'm keeping an eye on.
All right. Well, Ricky, I got to say, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Super bummed that you got injured and this fight with Drew Dober on March the 12th is off, but hopefully you're going to be back soon and the UFC gives you the opponent that you really want and deserve. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you guys for having me. Check me out on Instagram, Gladiator MMA. Thanks to my management, Iridium Sports Agency. I hope UFC lines me up with Drew Dober once I'm ready to get back and hoping into summer. Thank you to a couple of my sponsors, Richie Bros, Junk Removal, gyms I train at, Absolute MMA and Fitness, Henzo Gracie, BJJ Des Moines, 22nd Street Barbell. Yeah. Thanks to my friends and family. Thank you, everyone, for following me and being with me for my journey and giving me love and support and reaching out and caring. And, yeah, I hope this recovery goes quick after the surgery and I'm able to get back in there and perform like I know I can.
Awesome. Thanks again for the time. Hope the surgery and everything goes well, and we look forward to having you back again soon. Another show almost in the books. Thank you to UFC Lightweight Ricky Glenn for joining us. Hopefully we're going to see him back in action very, very soon. I'm super bummed that fight with Drew Dober isn't on the dock here next, but I'm sure he'll be back in action, hopefully in the very near future. But Garrett, UFC 272 is this Saturday. I cannot wait for it. Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal main event. I mean, you don't get too many main events that aren't title fights and you get this much excitement for it. I am so geeked up for it. How pumped are you?
Oh man, I've been waiting for this fight for a long time. I think everybody has. These two guys have so much bad blood, so much animosity between these two that, it's hard not to be excited for this fight. Even if it's not a fight for a title, it's definitely worth watching, and it's worth 5 rounds too. So I'm uber excited for this fight. And, this fight card as a whole has actually got a really good list of fighters and very exciting fights all up and down the fight card.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I've been pretty vocal about this leading up to this fight with Covington and Masvidal. But right now, Colby is about a minus 335 favorite. And I think that's just about right. Look, Masvidal clearly has the power and the ability to close out the show. But does he really hit as hard as Kamaru Usman? I don't think so. And, we saw Colby take Usman's best shots and he didn't get put out. So I feel like this is going to be a master clinic in wrestling, just ground and pound, top control. Like, this is Colby Covington's fight to lose. Like, there's no reason he shouldn't win this fight. The only way he's going to lose it, in my opinion, is if he gets baited into a firefight, if he lets his emotions take control and he doesn't fight smart against Masvidal. Because if he stands in the middle and trades, there's a chance that he could get caught. And that's what Masvidal is best at. So for me, for my money, like, I feel like Colby Covington should win this fight rather handily. I think it should be a UD win for him. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about it. When you look at it, Garrett, tell me what you think.
Looking at this fight as a whole, you kind of see where Colby pretty much has advantages a lot of different ways. Obviously, the wrestling, he's definitely has a huge advantage there. The cardio, the pace, the pressure, everything sides to Colby Covington. But minus 335, minus 400 favorite. When has Colby, other than Tyron Woodley, looked like a minus 400 favorite? Against who? Damian Maia, an old Robbie Lawler, a lightweight in Rafael dos Anjos. I mean, there's nobody even remotely on the same wavelength as Jorge Masvidal that he looked like a minus 400 favorite. Granted, do I think he wins? Possibly. I feel like he's the A side. But when the odds go, you're giving me – I got Masvidal early in the week at plus 300. You're giving me Masvidal at plus 300 in a fight that's definitely going to be relatively close. Like, this fight's not going to look like Colby Covington is going to be a minus 400 favorite. Is he going to take him down? Yes. Is he going to hold him down? Absolutely not. Who does Colby Covington hold down? No one.
Well, so I actually disagree with that a little bit. I don't think this is going to be close. I think this is going to be a washout for Covington. I think he's going to dominate this fight wherever it goes. Colby Covington does not get enough credit for how darn good he is. This guy is super legit. He's like, if obviously Usman's the 1A, Covington's the 1B. If they were to fight, 7 more times, 8 more times, I think Covington wins a couple of those, and he could have won that second fight. It was super close. A lot of people thought he won 3 rounds. And when you look at Masvidal, he was taken down by Maia. Damian Maia took him down. If Damian Maia could take him down, what is Colby Covington going to do? He's going to be able to take him down at will.
But that's also a long time ago. That was, what, 4 years ago? That's a good amount of time since, that Maia fight. I mean, and he's working tirelessly with Division I athletes when it comes to wrestling since that time. Did Usman hold him down on 6 days' notice? Absolutely not. No, he did not. He held him against the cage, yes, because he's stronger, and I get that. But Covington is not as strong as Usman. He's not going to hold him against the cage. He doesn't do a lot of clinch work. He's going to try to rinse and repeat, take him down, let him get up, take him down again, let him get up, take him down again. He's not a control fighter. He doesn't control his opponents on the mat. Robbie Lawler got up numerous times in that fight. And, Robbie Lawler isn't the same fighter. If Robbie Lawler was Robbie Lawler back in the day, he would have absolutely ended, Colby Covington in that fight. But, in this fight, I feel like I know Colby's going to get the better of him in the grappling exchanges, but I just don't think he's going to be able to keep him on the mat. He's not going to be able to keep him on the mat. And now we're going to get a fight where it's going to be even on the feet. I do think Colby's going to have the volume advantage. But in terms of technical striking abilities, the different types of strikes that, that's going to be thrown on the feet, all points to Masvidal. Masvidal is by far the better striker of the two. He's the more seasoned striker. He's got more power as well. Colby, I know, went against Usman. And I know Usman has a ton of power in his hands as well. but he got knocked down 4 times in 2 of those fights. That's never good, especially against a guy that has numerous knockouts, in his time, in his career. Not saying it's guaranteed that he lands one shot, he's going to put him out, but is it a possibility? Absolutely. And if this is extended periods of time on the feet, I just don't see Colby Covington being able to beat Masvidal in a striking match. I mean, and I know Masvidal's, he was very much worried about the takedowns against Usman in the second fight, because the first fight, it was all takedowns. It was all clinch work. It was all wrestling. So he was worried about that more often, that he just got lackadaisy on the feet and he got caught. Do I think Colby Covington is going to be able to do that against Masvidal? I don't think so. But we'll see what happens, I guess.
But see, here's the thing. This is the way that I look at it. So when they're on the feet, and if Masvidal is having some success, let's say he stuns Colby and hurts him, boom, like Colby's going to automatically transition to wrestling and grappling. Like his fight IQ and his ability to switch from striking to grappling and wrestling is so good. And I feel like that's going to be the difference. If he fights smartly and he doesn't get into a firefight, any time that Masvidal clips him and hurts him, Colby's going to immediately go to his wrestling to recover. And we've seen him be able to do that before in other fights. I feel like Covington is one of these guys that people hate him because of his mouth, right? He's kind of like he's like kind of Chael Sonnen-ish, but like another level. Like Chael was like borderline funny, like you could kind of get, but Colby, people hate Colby. And I feel like they don't give him enough credit for it. Like Colby Covington is freaking good, man. And I think this fight with Jorge Masvidal is going to put an exclamation point on it as to just how darn good he is. And I want to see the third fight with Usman. I don't know what else Colby's going to have to do. Maybe, he's going to have to fight Chimaev next. Who knows? That would be an unbelievably hyped, exciting fight. But this to me, this is Colby Covington's fight to lose. As long as he fights smart, he wins this, and he wins it UD easy for me. So the minus 335 for me, I'm super confident about it. I feel really good about that.
I understand it. I mean, a lot of people feel the same exact way as you do. They think it's going to be a wash. They think, Colby Covington is going to go in there and just do what he does best, pace, pressure, come forward, take the fight to the mat, rinse and repeat just for 25 minutes. He can do that. He's done it before. So I would not be surprised if he does it. But at the current line, I don't like it. I think it's going to be a lot closer than the line suggests. I know they haven't trained in a while, but they still know each other's tendencies. Every fighter still has some of the same tendencies, whether they evolve or not. They still go back to some of the same tendencies. Both fighters have gotten a lot better since they've last trained. So it's going to be interesting to see, how that unfolds, coming into this matchup, because they know each other's strengths, they know each other's weaknesses, and it's going to be to whoever is able to exploit, their weaknesses. And we'll see how it goes. I just think personally the fight should be lined a bit closer. And I feel they're putting a lot of stock in Colby Covington almost winning a fight, even though he lost both, and Masvidal getting knocked out by Usman. I think they're putting a ton of stock into that. Both lost, and I just don't see it. I just don't see the line being so wide that it is. Colby Covington could go in there and win. I just don't think he's going to look like a -3, -400 favorite.
Well, give me your prediction. How do you see it ending? Like, if you're not going to bet money on it, just how do you think this fight is going to play out? What's the end result for you?
I think it's crazy to say because of how great Colby Covington is. I'm not downplaying his abilities. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's right up there with Usman, like you said, because he had close fights with him twice, both times. But unfortunately, I think Masvidal clips him. I think he clips him and gets him out of there. I don't want to say when, but maybe inside 3 rounds. Because I think after round 3, I think Colby Covington should take over with his pace and his pressure and his cardio. But okay. I think Masvidal clips him, and I clips him within the first 3 rounds.
All right, maybe you and me can make a little side bet. Let's talk off air. But so let's talk about. Give me a couple of potential upsets that you see on this card, outside of, you picking Masvidal to beat Covington, who's a heavy favorite. When you look at this card, there's a couple that stand out to me, but from the betting perspective, who do you feel like could spring an upset here at UFC 272?
One of my favorite underdogs would probably be Edson Barboza plus 150. I know Bryce Mitchell has looked, really good in his time in the UFC so far. Relentless grappler, and he's fought good competition so far, but he hasn't been fighting. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years, a little over a year or so. And I just don't think this is a pretty sizable step up in competition from Andre Fili, to Edson Barboza on over a year's time that he's been away. He was injured as well, also a reason why he was away. And then you look at his camp. Who does he have in his camp that's going to emulate anything remotely close to what Barboza is going to bring to the table? Is he going to, like, TJ Brown is his only UFC, training partner. He's the only guy in his camp that's in the UFC. He's got nobody else. So he's training at a camp where he does get a ton of great looks in. And he's going against a guy who's an absolute brute, an absolute powerhouse, a guy that has good takedown defense, who doesn't normally get subbed, who should be 4-1 in the division. His only loss is to Giga Chikadze, who is, an elite striker, a guy that's in the top 7, top 8 in the division. And you come in against Bryce Mitchell. I mean, Bryce Mitchell's good, but is he a D1 athlete? Is he an extreme jiu-jitsu practitioner? No to both of those. So what is he going to do? Just take him down and just hold him down and submit him? Could he do that? Yeah, but I just personally can't see it. I just can't see him just going in there, taking him down, and just holding him there. Me personally, I can't see it. I think Barboza has to take down defense to keep it on the feet, and where he's going to absolutely punish Mitchell. He's never faced a striker as good as Barboza his entire career. And he's gonna have to deal with a ton of leg kicks, which he's never had to deal with ever in his entire career. He's got to deal with body kicks. He's got to deal with head kicks, and he's got to deal with the power in his hands as well. This dude's an absolute powerhouse, and I think a lot of people are just writing Barboza off as if he's a deadbeat. He's done. His career's over just because of his last fight against Giga Chikadze. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they're saying it's the level of when Tony Ferguson fell off from Justin Gaethje. I just can't see that happening, me personally.
I completely agree with you. I actually have Barboza winning this fight. I have him on like all of my DraftKings lineups. So I think you're spot on with this one, even though you're dead wrong about Masvidal, Clip, and Covington. But that's a story for another day. So I'll tell you another fight that I feel like someone could really spring an upset here. And it's a former Ultimate Fighter winner, Timothy Elliott, against Ulanbekov. Like, who has Ulanbekov really fought before? This is his second fight in the UFC. I get it that he's got a great record, but like, Tim Elliott's a dog. This guy is such a veteran, and he's so well-rounded and tough. Plus 195. I mean, I know that's not like a huge underdog, but I think he's going to go in there and get the win here. How do you see that fight shaking out?
It really depends, because if Tim Elliott goes in there and gets taken down, that's all she wrote, because he's not going to get back up. He's not going to get back up against Ulanbekov. He's going to be flat on his back. He's going to try to scramble, but he's going to get put back down. That's his fault. Is his takedown defense is not good, and he just is able to get controlled. He does have some good submissions off his back, but I think Ulanbekov is good enough to avoid those submissions. And I think his best bet is to be able to be very, very unorthodox on the feet and just keep throwing a ton of volume. Just stay at bay, because at distance, he should win this fight. I think he's the better striker. I think he, like I said, he's more unorthodox. So he throws a ton of different variety of strikes that you normally won't ever see from a normal fighter. And I think that's going to give Ulanbekov a ton of problems. But it comes down to whether or not he can keep his ass off the fence and dictate the pace and the pressure and control the center of the octagon. Because if not, if he lets Ulanbekov just keep pressing forward, his back is going to get against the cage, and he's going to get going on a ride, and he's going to be flat on his back for a majority of this fight. My favorite bet is taking the fight goes the distance. I think this goes all the way to all the 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just thinking like I feel like Elliott could get the win here. I just have a gut
He
feeling on
does.
it.
He can. He
One,
definitely can, especially at that type of line. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
think it's definitely wide for sure.
one fight that I have to stay away from because I'm biased, and I'm just going to be totally honest. I very much like Dustin Jacoby, not just as a fighter, but as a human being. I just really enjoy talking to him. He's just a man. So he's a minus 210 favorite against Michael Olajaychek, who he's a powerhouse. The guy's got a ton of power, and he's looking for that KO. But Dustin Jacoby, undefeated since coming back, his second stint in the UFC, unbelievable kickboxer, knows how to use his reach. I hope he gets the win. Do you feel like Jacoby's going to stay undefeated here and get a victory here over Olajaychek?
Oh, I'm confident in Jacoby in this fight. I mean, it's a tailor-made fight for him. I mean, as long as he doesn't have to defend takedowns, I would take Jacoby almost against anybody. In the light heavyweight division, the dude is extremely skilled on the feet. He fought in kickboxing majority of his career. And one of the only guys that finished him in his kickboxing career also finished is Israel Adesanya, and that's Alex Pereira. No one's been able to finish him in MMA in terms of strikes, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but at least in this stint in the UFC, he's fought Jan Kutalaba. He weathered the storm there and beat him to a bloody pulp. He fought Darren Stewart. He beat him to a bloody pulp. I mean, the dude striking is legit. And I know Olajaychek, he comes to fight, but he's super, super one-dimensional. He's just a plain boxer. You think a plain boxer is going to beat someone as diverse as Dustin Jacoby on the feet? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to pepper him with leg kicks. So every time he takes a step forward, he's eating a leg kick. He's going to eat a ton of different varieties. I think he's going to keep countering him the entire time as he's trying to walk forward. I think the only way Olajaychek is going to be able to win this fight is by knockout, because I think he's going to be outgunned in volume, and I just don't think he's going to be able to hit Jacoby clean enough for 15 minutes to win on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, the Hanyak for the win. Can't wait to see him back in the octagon. Another fight I wanted to get your take on is Greg Hardy, Sergey Spivak. Hardy is plus 170, Spivak minus 200. Does the former NFL All-Pro get another win inside of the UFC octagon, or is Spivak going to stop this hype train?
Oh man, it really depends what Hardy shows up. He's all talk right now, and I love the way he's talking, how confident he is, and it really boils down to whether or not he stays within his means. Stop, overexerting yourself. Like he hurt, Tai Tuivasa, and then he just came bull rushing forward with his head first in, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he just got clipped, and that's all she wrote. But this is a winnable fight for him. I think Spivak definitely has the grappling advantage. Obviously, I think pretty much anybody that goes against Hardy has a grappling advantage. But the thing is, Hardy's going to have probably over 40 pounds on Spivak in this fight. Spivak, in his last fight, he weighed 239 pounds. We're talking about Greg Hardy, who yesterday weighed 295 pounds already. You're talking about a guy that has to cut 30 pounds in 4 days. So by the time the fight actually happens, he's got to be at least 280 to 290. And then Spivak's not cutting anyways. So he's going to be, 235 to 245 at the most. So you talk about a guy that's going to have 30, 40 pounds of weight on him. He's also a lot stronger than Spivak as well. You're talking about an NFL lineman that was running sub 4.6, sub 4.7 at 300 pounds. The dude's an insane athlete. So, and that really is what, kind of propels him, is his athletic abilities. And he's got insane power. Spivak's been finished before on the feet. And, I think he packs enough punch to really change the landscape of the fight. But he needs to get it done in round one. If he gets out of round one, it's not going to look good for him. But, yeah, I think Greg Hardy gets it done in round one, to be honest.
Okay, well, intriguing heavyweight bout right there. And one more I wanted to discuss here before maybe we close the show for the day is Kevin Holland dropping to 170 to face Alex Oliveira. Holland is a minus 350 favorite. A lot of people feel like Oliveira's jiu-jitsu, his ground game is going to get the better and maybe spring the upset against Holland. Does that happen, or does Kevin Holland get the dub?
Kevin Holland gets the dub. I mean, Oliveira, we love watching Cowboy Oliveira fight. He's insane in there. He throws a ton of different techniques. He's got great power, good grappling, good jiu-jitsu. But unfortunately, his time is up. I mean, he's lost his last 3. He's going against a guy that was top 15 at 185. Now he's back down to his natural weight class, 170 pounds. He's much longer. He's much technical, much more technical on the feet as well. I think he's packs more punching power, than Oliveira. I just think this is his coming out party at 170 pounds. We're giving him Oliveira and just kind of feeding it to him. I think Oliveira's going to put up a fight in the beginning, but I feel like he eventually gets finished in this fight. And, Oliveira's talking about he wants to go in there and throw hands. I don't think that's what you want to do against Holland, knowing that he's got some power. I mean, he's finished some guys with his hands. Let's not act like he doesn't have some punching power. He's got some legit power in his hands, and he's got the jiu-jitsu to boot. So I got Kevin Holland all day here, and I love him to win inside the distance as well.
All right. Well, I'm always pumped to see Kevin Holland fight, and hopefully can chat with him again at some point down the line. But Garrett, I mean, UFC 272 is stacked. I cannot wait for this card. Where are you going to be watching it? Are you going to just be kicking back at home with the family? Are you going out? What's the plan?
Nah, man, I'm always kicking it back at home, watching it on my TV. I'd rather watch it with me and my family than going out and watching a bunch of other people in the bar. Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's nice to get out and watch at the bar. But I like watching it within my own means. I don't want to be out there with some of these casuals that just watch it just cause. But yeah, I'm there. I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it? Because I am.
I'm pumped, man. I'm going to have my dual TV set going. The
Nice.
fight's on the big screen. I'll have some basketball on the smaller TV, and I'll be ready to roll, drinking my water, because I'm trying to lean up for Mexico, heading there next month. So
Nice.
I'm trying to get to welterweight. So let's go.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Well, another great show. Always fantastic talking to you, my friend. Thank you, Ricky Glenn, for joining us, and we will see you guys next week.